Hello everyone, welcome back to your English class. My name is Jasmin and I'm here to assist you with your English lesson. So I feel that all of you had a very nice autumn vacation with your family. You could spend some special moments with them. Even I too had a nice autumn vacation with my family. I could visit my parents, and this time I was feeling so happy that I could spend some more time with my mother. I always feel that spending time with our mother is just like spending time with our best friend. Don't you agree? What can be the reasons? There are many reasons. What I feel is mothers are our first friend, they are our best friend, and they are our friend forever. So let me ask, have you ever imagined getting separated from your mother? I know it's not a very nice thing to imagine, but there are writers who have imagined such situations and produced marvelous works as poetries and stories. And the chapter that we are going to discuss today is something related to this topic. I know that by the time all of you have understood which chapter that we are going to discuss today, My Mother at 66, a poem written by the famous Indian English poet Kamala Das. The name Kamala Das is very familiar for us. It is not just because she is a Keralite, but her significant contribution to both English and Malayalam literature. Do you know under which pen name she used to write in Malayalam? Yes, Madhavikutty. Kamala Das, Kamala Suraya or Madhavikutty was born on 31st March 1934 at Punniyurkulam, a place which is situated in Thrissur. She is regarded as the mother of modern Indian English poetry. Now let's continue discussing more about the chapter. So let's begin with a recitation of the poem. My Mother at 66, a poem by Kamala Das. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Doze, open mouth, her face ashen like that of corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. But soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, wan, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." And all I did was smile, smile, and smile. So you can see, as the poem begins, both of them, the mother and the daughter, they are traveling inside a car. The mother, she was looking very weak. She was almost in her twilight age, and they are on the way to the airport. The poet, she is observing her mother. She was looking too weak and pale, and she feels that she is almost near to her end. Further, the poet notices how she is sleeping beside her. She is open-mouthed, which means she is really weak. The poet thinks that her colorless face is almost similar to that of a dead body. Thus, she feels really anxious about her mother's health. In order to deviate her thoughts, she looks around. She looks through the window and watches how young bright trees are standing there, and she feels like they all are sprinting. As the car is moving forward, all the trees, they are running backwards, she feels. She also notices how young children, very energetically, they are engaged in different kinds of games. So here the poet is actually bringing a comparison between the life inside the car and outside. Inside the car the life is dull, weak, but you can see a real contrast outside where it is full of energy and green. Once they reach the airport, the poet once again looks at her mother. and she feels that her mother has become really weak due to old age, and at any time she may leave her. She here compares her mother's face that of a winter's moon, which is not right, very weak. Suddenly the poet feels that the old fear is coming back to her, that she's going to lose her mother. But she wanted to have a very nice goodbye with her mother. So she simply said that see you soon, Amma. And she did not show her emotion towards her mother, that she is really anxious about her next meeting, whether they'll be able to have a meeting again. But instead of saying this or showing her emotion to her mother, she tells her that see you soon, Amma, and she simply smiles at her. The poem ends with a very hopeful note that the poet will again meet her Amma soon. So now let's discuss more about the poetic devices used in this poem. So in your previous classes you have already know what are poetic devices. So in short, you can say poetic devices are special tools which is used by a writer in order to enhance the beauty or effect or depth of meaning of that particular work. So this particular poem is also composed using different types of poetic devices. So now let's see which are the major poetic devices used in this poem. The first poetic device used in this poem is in the line, ashen like that of a corpse. Here the poet is actually bringing a comparison between her mother's face and that of a corpse. And you can see how the poet is comparing two things with the help of a connecting word. Here the connecting word is like. So it is an example of a simile. Similarly, you can see towards the end of the poem, the poet once again using simile where she is comparing her mother's face to a late winter's moon. So again you can see comparing two things with using a connecting word. So that is also an example of a simile. Another important poetic device used in this particular poem is imagery. You can see in the line, young trees sprinting, merry children spilling out, all these are producing some kind of visuals in our mind when we read these lines. So that is an example of imagery used in this particular poem. And there is a really interesting fact about this particular poem. When you read the poem, you can see there is no full stop. The poem begins in the first line and it ends in the last line. So the entire poem is a single sentence. Do you know which poetic device is used in here? It is called enjambment, which means the continuous use of a sentence without any kind of punctuation. So that's all about this particular poem. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.